Hi kids, and welcome to today's lesson. If you look behind me, you can see a rug hanging on the wall that says welcome in several different languages. Some languages that kids your age speak all around the world. I want to talk about languages in just a few minutes, but first I want to ask you a question. If I show you a picture of someone, do you think you could figure out their job? Let's try. How about this person right here? I bet you said they're an astronaut, right? You would be correct. What about this person? There's an animal, looks like there's some type of doctor. Veterinarian is the answer we were looking for. How about this guy? Maybe a police detective? Maybe a spy? Would you like to be a spy when you grow up? To have secret missions, to listen in on people's conversations, to share information through codes? This guy might be a spy. What about this person? Oh, I'm sure you enjoy what this person makes. Maybe they make donuts or cakes or some delicious dessert. That would be a baker. How about this person? Looks like there's a test tube of some kind, a beaker, some chemicals. Maybe a chemist, a biologist, a scientist. What about this person? Do you even know what those symbols are on that thing that they're sitting behind? That's a computer. And those symbols help us know that this person is someone who works in IT, information technology. They work on computers. They're the kind of people that make sure that the videos I make, you can see and you can hear. What about this person? There's the same word in several different languages, and this person can understand all those languages. Translator might be the word you were thinking of, but I was thinking of even a different word. A word I want to talk about today, and that word is linguist. You see, a linguist is a person who studies languages. They're skilled at several different languages. They study them, they can read them, they can write them, they can understand them, they can speak them. So a linguist is someone who is skilled at several different languages. Did you know that God is probably, well, I know for sure He is, the world's greatest linguist? Yeah, God knows all the languages. He can understand them all. He can speak them all. And the reason that He knows them all is because God created all the languages. Let me ask you this question though. What language did Adam and Eve speak? I was talking to a little boy the other day, and he said, well, obviously they spoke English. And I said, how do you know that? And he said, because every video I've seen, they're speaking English. Well, did you know that those videos, they're in lots of different languages? So what language did Adam and Eve speak? We don't know for sure, but we do know that they and people after them for a long time all spoke one same language. So how did we end up with so many different languages? To answer that question, and to talk about how God created languages, we need to start with the story of Noah. Do you remember who Noah was? Noah lived during a time when the world was getting worse and worse and worse, and sin was just covering the world. People were not kind to each other. People were not obeying God. And God said, I need to punish people for their sin. So He spoke to Noah and his family and said, build an ark. And when you build that ark, I will make sure that that ark will be filled with your family and with animals, because I'm going to send a flood to punish the earth. And for many days, your family and all those animals will live inside that ark until I've finished the punishment. Well, the Bible says that eventually the waters of the earth, they subsided, they went away, and that ark landed on the edge of a mountain. Noah and his family, they left the ark and they began to worship God like you see in that picture. And God gave them a promise with the rainbow saying, I will never punish the earth with a flood ever again. And then God gave Noah's family two specific instructions. He said in Genesis 9, verse 1, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. He was telling them, I want your families to grow, so have children, multiply the number of people, because you are the only people who are alive on earth right now. So multiply and grow that number. And when that number grows, go out and fill the entire earth. Move around the planet so that people are spreading through the world again. Well, Noah and his family, all those who came after him, they multiplied and they grew bigger. So they obeyed that part of God's command. But they didn't obey command number 2. to fill the earth. Instead, the Bible says the people stayed in one place. We read about a man, this guy, named Nimrod. The Bible says that Nimrod was a mighty man. He was a skilled hunter. Some people viewed him as their leader. But Nimrod used force to make people do what he wanted, to convince them that he was in charge. So some other people, they didn't look at him as a leader, they looked at him as a tyrant, someone who was ruling over everyone in a wrong way. And Nimrod, the Bible says, built many cities. In fact, it says his kingdom, it began at the place of Babel. Now, maybe you've heard the story of Babel before. Babel is the place where we read how God introduced languages, created them, and gave them to the world. I want to show you a short video, just a few minutes, that explains what happened when the people gathered together at this one spot, decided that they were going to build a tower in the area of Babel. What did God do to create these languages, and what happened after the languages were created? Check it out.
After the flood, more people were born. The people slowly journeyed together and found a wide, beautiful plain to settle in the land of Babylonia. They started making houses, raising families, growing crops, and establishing their new life together. As they did, they got an idea. Let's build ourselves a big city and a huge tower that will reach up to heaven. This, they thought, would make them famous and would prevent them from being scattered all over the earth. The tower slowly went up, brick by brick. The people were discovering the power of working together, building together, and soon relied so much on their own strength that they forgot about God. The people felt unstoppable. They would dominate. Their power, together, grew stronger and stronger. They were building a mighty city. God saw the people's aggressive urge to be independent. God knew that it would only lead to sin. In his wisdom, he devised a plan to scatter the people so they would populate the entire earth. He began to confuse their language. Now, when one man said to another, "Hand me the hammer," he wouldn't understand. They couldn't do anything together if they did not speak the same language. And that was how their great plan ended. Everyone was speaking in a different language. Those speaking the same language grouped together and were dispersed throughout the earth. That is how the earth became populated with different races, nations, and languages.
That video did an excellent job of sharing with us the story that we could read in Genesis chapter 11. It explained the details of why the people decided to disobey God and what God decided to do to spread the people around the world. Languages were created by God. God is a linguist, so he knows all the languages. He understands all the languages. Do you know what that means? That means anyone can talk to God. You don't have to speak English to talk to God. You can speak any language and God will know what you're saying. Wouldn't it be neat if we could talk with someone who spoke a different language and without having another person explain to us what was being said, if we could understand them all by ourselves? Well, there's a few stories in the Bible about when that happened, and I'll tell you more about that because I want to talk to you more about how God is a linguist, but I'll do that in a couple lessons coming up. So watch for those lessons. And as you watch, remember two things. One, God created languages. And two, take time to learn more about God. Learn more about who he is, because the more we know about him, the more we know how we can be like him. That's all I got for today. I hope you have a great day. Bye.